Okay. So in previous class we have discussed about LT architecture, what are the nodes and their functionalities, right? And in today's class we will discuss on interfaces part. So what are the interfaces connecting each and every entity in LTE architecture? So like interfaces like LTE-UU interface, X2 interface, S1 MME, S1 user interface, S6A, these things, S11, S10, what are their uses, why these interfaces are, what are their roles and responsibilities. Fine. So let's discuss. You have drawn this diagram with that all the interfaces, right?
Yes, yeah, already draw the diagram.
So all the interfaces also.
Yeah, yeah, with interface.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let's see. First interface is from UE to, you can mute UE to eNode B, that is LTE UU interface. In 3G or 2G we say it as air interface, right? So fine, UI interface is nothing but just a air interface kind of thing. There is nothing much in that. It will involve in the OFDMA, CFDMA, those things. So we will discuss in detail those concept about UI interface. You can mention just one point. LTE UI interface is just nothing but a LTE air interface of Utron. This first point. So these things, all everything will come into UI interface. Whatever the processings are happening, uplink throughput, downlink throughput, it will come through air interface only. But we defined LTE interface as a air interface to the Utron. Okay. So next is X2 interface. So X2 interface is nothing but it's connecting between two base stations. So let me share you. So suppose this is my UE, and let's this is my base station. Okay. So this is my, suppose, one more base station. So my UE can be somewhere else here in the anywhere in the network. Okay. So what is mean by X2 interface means, so these base stations, first is UU interface. This UE is connected with this base station via LTUU interface or air interface. But these two base stations are also connected internally with LAN cable via X2 interface. This is nothing but X2 interface, X2 link we say. So whenever you bring up a eNode B, or whenever deploy eNode B in the field, there will be multiple eNode Bs in the field for a particular operator, and they will give internal connections. They will define X2 link between each eNode B, so that the communication between one eNode B to other eNode B can happen. And this is very useful in case of handover. When this UE moves from this direction to this direction, suppose this movie UE is moving from this to this direction. Okay, initially it will be attached to this eNode B, but after coming here, it may attach with this eNode B, right? So this is how this two eNode Bs will communicate during handover process, during reselection process, mainly during handover process. So during reselection, it will not come into picture during handover process. Okay. uh, Next is let's write some points. What is X2 interface? So X2 interface is nothing but it's a inter node B interface. Make point, 2 points. X2 interface is a inter node B interface. It is responsible for handover coordination without involving the MME or EPC. It's a inter node B interface, and it is responsible for handover coordination without involving the EPC. EPC means this one whole part. This is the EPC. Okay. Written 2 points. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
You have written 2 points, right? It
Yeah,
is
yeah, I wrote down 2 points.
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one more point you can write. This will avoid loss of huge amount of packets during inter inode B handover. Okay. So first thing you have to understand whole LT architecture, their entities, what are the entities are there, like MEMES gateway, P gateway, inode B, those things. Then you have to understand the interfaces of each entity, what are the interfaces connecting to which entities, which nodes. So once you understand these things, then you can enter in this protocol level. What are the inside protocols working? Fine. So that's it. X2. Next come to S1 MME. So S1 MME is nothing but it is interface between eNode B and MME. So let's see. This is our UE. Those two eNode Bs are connected with X2 interface. Suppose somewhere here my MME is there. Okay. So this is my MME, suppose, and this eNode base will be connected. This eNode base will be connected with this MME. There will be several eNode base in the field, right? So this eNode base will be connected with MME via S1 interface. So this is we say as a S1 interface, S1 MME, or just a S1 interface, anything. So why it is needed this S1 MME? It will be useful in case of S1 handover or tracking area update. So let me share you. Okay. So it is a control interface between eNode B and MME. You can write one more point of this S1 MME interface. Draw this diagram first. This diagram. Or else if you don't draw even, that's also fine, because you have already drawn that architecture and interfaces. That's fine. So you can write one point regarding this S1 MME. It is a control interface between eNode B and MME. So MME and UE will exchange non-access stratum NAS means signaling via eNode B through this interface. So what is NAS signaling we will see in later classes. Just you can write this point. MME and UE will exchange NAS signaling via eNode B this interface, via this interface. So basically S1 MME is nothing but a control plane. So what are the signaling messages, like tracking area update, those things. Like in 3G, 2G, we had location area update. Whenever one UE moving from one area to other area, MME will change, right? So old MME, new MME will come. So in that case, it will be useful for transferring signaling messages, paging messages. Okay. So just a 2 point, you can write it. It will be more clear in later classes once we proceed. Okay. So fine, that's it
Okay.
about S1 MME. And next is S1 U interface. So S1U means it's a user plane interface. So we have in the architecture we have S gateway here. So suppose this is my S gateway. This is my S gateway, and this E node B is connected to here. Where? Just a second. So E node B connect is connected to this S gateway via S1 user interface. So this E node B is connected to S gateway. S1U S1U interface. So fine. S1 hyphen U interface. It's a user interface. Why we say user interface means internet slow. Okay. So why we say user interface means it is responsible for
Your
user
voice is
data.
not
Is it audible? You can
yeah
see
now, but before
now.
it's scrabbled.
Okay, some internet issue is there. So Enode B is connected to S gateway via this interface, S1 user interface. Why we say S1U interface means it is responsible for purely user data transfer. And the data which is coming from S gateway, it will come to Enode B via this interface, user interface. So you can write one point regarding this S1U heading. So it's a user plane interface between Enode B and serving gateway, S gateway. So it is a pure user data interface, user plane. For user data transfer, we have S1U interface. For control data transfer, we have S1MME, S1C interface, this one. Okay. So these 2 points, you can write it down. Written.
Yeah, written.
Okay. So next interface in our architecture is S1MME, S1 user, S6A, S11 interface, S10. So many are there. Okay. So as per architecture, if you have to practice architecture and interfaces, they may ask you in the interview for first round. Okay, so this is a S10 interface. S10 is nothing but very simple. It is used in case of inter MME, like when old MME, new MME concept is coming. So suppose this, let me share you. Suppose this is my MME, and there is a one more MME here somewhere else. So this is in one area. This is suppose it is in Riyadh, and this is in Dammam. This MME. Suppose this first part is in Riyadh, and second MME is in Dammam, and once this user is moving from this direction to this direction, then how handover or reselection will happen? Because of this MME. MME will contact this old MME. Suppose this is previously connected. My device is connected to this MME. Now this user moved to this area, and this is a new MME in this area, right? So this communication between old MME and new MME will take place via S10 interface. This is where S10 interface is used. Come into picture. So S10 interface. So what are the responsible for this S10 interface? So let's write it here. So S10 interface, it's a interface between different MMEs. Okay. It is used during inter-MME tracking area updates and handovers. These 2 points are enough. Okay. So next come S6 interface. Noted down these 2 points. It's an interface between different MMEs. It is used during inter-MME tracking area updates or handovers. So what are these tracking area updates? How handover happens? Those things we will see in later classes. So it's a very basic things. Just you need to write down the theory part first 4 or 5 classes. Have you gone through those link? I have shared you some videos, my previous batch recorded sessions.
Yeah, yes, I am going through. I think I watched 2 videos, last 2 videos.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
going through this class. If I get the free time, then I'm going through.
Yeah, sure. So fine, this point, 2 points I have written, right? Next interface is MME to HSS. So it will use this S6A interface. So whenever MME is contacting for user profile, user subscription profile, or regarding user information, whenever UE makes a RSC connection request, those things, initial attach when happens to a network, then it will verify this UE is correct or not with this subscriber details, right? User information will be in this HSS, home subscriber server we have seen. So all that detail will be there in this one. So how MME will fetch those details via S6A interface. So it is a interface between MME and HSS, S6A. You can write down one more sentence. The MME uses it to retrieve subscription information from HSS. Till here, the MME uses it to retrieve subscription information from HSS. In any scenarios it can retrieve, like initial attach, during handover, tracking area update, those things. No need to write those things, just you write a simple sentence: the MME uses it to retrieve subscription information. That's it. Keep it simple. Okay, noted.
Yeah, noted.
Okay, so next thing is interface between MME and S gateway. And we have seen between MME and S gateway there is a S1. S gateway to E node B we have seen till now. S gateway to E node B. But this is between MME and S gateway, S11 interface. So let's see in our diagram. So how this till here UE interface S1 MME, S1 user we have seen E node B it is connected. How MME to MME is connected, but how MME to S gateway is connected via S11 interface. So whenever MME wants to talk to S gateway, it will use S11 interface. So what kind of information will be exchanged with this interface, we will see. So it's a S11, make a heading, S11 interface. So it is the interface between MME and S gateway, serving gateway. So it is the interface between MME and serving gateway. It is used to coordinate the establishment of SAE bearers within the EPC. So you can simple write it is used to coordinate our establishment of bearers. This point. So bearer, you will understand in detail. No need to worry. Just write these terms. It will be new for you now, these terms, but you will get familiarized with these words and concepts later.
Yeah, note down.
Okay. So next interface is S5 S8 interface. So S5 S8 interface, it is between S gateway and P gateway. We have seen in our architecture, S gateway is connected to P gateway, right? Via
Yeah.
S5 S8 interface. So why we use two interfaces here? So that is the question some may ask. So here S5 interface is used if user is in homing like home network, and SAD interface is used if user is going or using services from roaming network. So this PDN gateway, what it does, it is connected to PCRF, right, in architecture. So it will check subscription with suppose let me share you. So this S gateway here, P gateway is connected. So suppose this is my P gateway here. So this P gateway is connected via S5 or S8 interface. Both will be there, S5 and S8 interface, but at a time only one interface will work. So there is a condition here, and this P gateway is connected to PCRF, and this will be connected to some external network, right? So this is connected here P gateway, and this is connected to external network PDN, packet data network. This is my PCRF. So our concern is here. So this is PDN, packet data network. So it can be any network, IMS network or any internet throughout the world. Any network who can provide the internet. It may be different operator also. Suppose this P gateway is contacting PDN network. Suppose my this network is this whole network is suppose my STC network. Suppose this is my STC, Saudi Telecom Communications, right? In Saudi. So which operator is there in Saudi?
Mobile STC
Yeah,
Zain.
STC, is it correct?
Yeah, yeah, STC. Okay.
So suppose there is a mobile here operator. So mobile is here. So suppose my in home condition, when this user is attached to this network, it will use S5 interface in order to fetch this data, downlink data to download from the internet, IMS network or some any other network. This P gateway will use this will transmit data, transfer data using S5 S8 interface to S gateway. S gateway will transfer to eNode B via S1 user interface. I'm talking about only data, and signaling part S gateway will forward to MME. MME will forward to this one, this eNode B. eNode B will forward to UE. So like this happens, user data. Let's talk about user data. Suppose P gateway is forwarding to S gateway via S5 interface in home condition, home network. But in case of UE is moving to moved from this area to this area, suppose, and there is a separate MME here in this area. And let me draw this complete. Suppose my UE has moved here, and there is a eNode B in this area. So suppose there is a eNode B in this area, and this is a mobile area, and this U is connected to this network, and this eNode B is connected to this MME, new MME. Okay. So in that case, this interface, whatever, if suppose STC is providing services in that area, wherever mobile is there, mobile network is there, they have a mutual cooperation between each and every operator in the around the world, whole the world. They will have operators will have mutual cooperation based upon their roaming networks. So they will support roaming scenarios also. So in that case, this P gateway will contact this PDN. So PDN will be common for this mobile or STC. So P gateway will contact mobile PDN, and it will fetch and it will check with PCR of what are the rules and QoS policy has to be applied, how much data rate should be applied, what per MB per real or something. So based upon that, it will forward to this UE. There will be S gateway here. So S gateway will forward to A node B, A node B will forward to this UE. So this is how it will be working. S8 interface it will be using to forward the data to S gateway. S8 interface. Okay. So write one two points here. S5 S8 interface heading. So interface, it is an interface between serving gateway and PDN gateway.
Okay.
S5
I
if
think I
serving
already write.
what?
I already wrote, I think.
Yeah, S5 if serving gateway and PDN gateway belong to the same network, non-roaming case.
Okay.
And S8 if this is a not in the case roaming case. So if S8 it uses S8 interface in case of roaming scenario, you can write
Okay.
S8 if it uses S8 interface in case of roaming scenario.
Okay.
Okay, fine. That's it about S5 S8 interface. Next comes S gateway. P gateway is connected to some external network. We will see later via SGI interface. Next thing is PCRF. So how P gateway is connected to this PCRF for charging policy, for charging rule. So that's how GX interface is used. You can mention, you can write a heading GX interface. So it is interacting interface. It is an interface between serving gateway. Don't need to write serving gateway. Some operators will have a P gateway as gateway will be combined. So no need to write this serving gateway. Just write P gateway. So it is the interface. This one, it is the interface between P gateway, PDN gateway, and PCRF policy and charging rule function. This point is enough. So this is not required. These things. Just write it is the interface between PDN gateway and PCRF policy and charging rule function. It allows the PCRF to request setup of SAE bearer with appropriate QoS. So QoS means class of service. What kind of class of service? High data rate, high speed, low speed, medium speed, based upon the pack data pack or subscription. What kind of subscription a user has taken. Though based upon those things, it will allow data flow. So you can write it allows the PCRF to request the setup of SAE bearer with appropriate QoS. GX interface. Noted this one. So this is our GX interface. Fine. Next thing is RX interface. So RX interface is not required for you because it's a completely related to core network testing. So just you can go through that architecture once again. It's an interface between, you can, if you may, can mention interface between this RX PDN gateway, PDN external data network, and PCRF. So that's fine. SGI interface is also not required. Leave it. So it's a just simply P gateway and external network it is connecting. for user plane, and this is for control plane, controlling the subscription. So these things we have completed now. uh, let's go through this internal architecture. So till now, any doubt?
Yeah, till now it's okay. I got everything. I understand.
Okay, okay, fine. So coming to architecture once again. So we have completed all the things in architecture, and then let's move into in-depth layers. What are the layers, internal layers, which are responsible for communicating between these two entities? Are these two entities UE to eNode B, or eNode B to UE, or eNode B to eNode B, or eNode B to MME, or eNode B to S gateway? These things. So what are the internal layers, like physical layer, MAC layer, RRCP, DCP, those things? Those things we will discuss now. So first thing, let me share you internal stacks. So you have to draw these diagram. They will ask in the interview sometimes. So what are the internal stacks between UE to eNode B? If you are going for a UE testing, they will ask only to draw internal stacks between UE to eNode B. And if you are going to eNode B testing interview, they will ask sometime. They will ask in draw the internal stack between UE to eNode B and eNode B to MME. So for those to clear those answers, you have to draw this diagram in your notes. So and you have to practice how internal stacks, what are the each and every internal stacks in each and every entity, like eNode B, UE, MME, S gateway, P gateway. So please draw in your notes internal stacks separately UE to eNode B till here.
Okay.
Okay. So this is UE to eNode B, one stack, internal stack. Like that, eNode B to MME, internal stack, this whole thing.
Mhm.
And
Right.
to make a heading, it is a control plane protocol stack.
Uh,
There is a user plane protocol stack. We will study both control plane first and then user plane. So control plane means transmitting control information like signaling messages, MIPS, SIPs, those things, broadcast messages kind of thing. We'll study in detail those things. Just make a heading now, control plane stack, and then draw a stack between UE and eNode B, this whole thing. Anyway, I will share you this document also once we finish this. If you write in notes, it will be more visible during your interview preparation. So you need to open laptop or PDF. The problem with the PDFs are electronic things are you once you see it will look like you can remember, you can tell without seeing. But
mm.
once you go, or if you want to tell something, you will forget. So if you have written in notes, it will be remember forever once you practice. When I attended a Qualcomm interview, they asked me to draw this internal stacks between UE to
Now, now or before?
no, 4 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So first question they ask, draw a LT architecture and explain each and every entity roles and responsibilities. And then
Uh-huh.
after they ask me internal diagram, internal stack for control plane and user plane. So this is what I am explaining in the basic things.
So control plane means this the first two, correct? From UE and UE to.
No, this is whole control plane. So what is user
Uh-huh.
plane means? We have a user plane. It will be different. This is a user plane stack. So different layers will be there.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay.
Internal.
Actually, no. If they ask us, we need to draw complete one, or just we need to do only the node B part or a UE part.
They will ask you between UE and
Mm-hmm.
Node B. No need to
Mm-hmm. Okay,
worry.
okay,
If you are going for a network based company like Samsung, Ericsson, Nokia, they will ask you if you are going for eNode B testing profile.
okay.
They will ask you to draw internal stack of eNode B. So then you
Uh-huh.
have to draw eNode B is contacting to UE with this internal stack, and eNode B is contacting to MME with this internal, right? So both side you
Okay,
have to
okay.
draw at that time.
Uh-huh.
So for UE testing, there is no need to draw MME stack here. Just this one UE and eNode B is enough.
Uh-huh.
This
Okay,
one.
okay.
And you can separately draw eNode B to MME internal stack. How eNode B is interacting with what layers, which layers is responsible for which, we will see. But how it is communicating,
Mm-hmm.
which layer is communicating to which at a at eNode B side and MME side. You can draw this diagram eNode B to MME.
Okay.
So this one is the first part, and after that eNode B to MME is second part.
Mhm. So what about the other part? No need.
Other part not needed, because
Uh-huh.
it comes into EPC core network. So core network, you are not going to apply, or we are not going to study in depth core network testing.
Okay, okay.
So that's why
Okay,
I
okay,
am
okay,
leaving
okay.
it. If you want to draw, you can draw one more part here, MME to S gateway internal stack.
Uh-huh. Okay,
This
okay, okay.
Yeah, this one you can draw one more thing, it will be useful.
Mhm. I think mostly all are same.
Yeah.
Mm. Only the interface is difference.
Hmm. So you can draw first UE to eNode B and eNode B to MME, MME to S gateway. That's enough.
Okay.
No need to write interfaces because we have already seen in architecture only.
Okay. Yeah, I drawn.
Okay, all three, right?
Yeah.
Fine. Next is one eNode B. We have seen one eNode B is interacting with other eNode B via X2 interface, right? So what are the internal stack? How internal layers they are having? So you can draw this part. One eNode B to other eNode B internal stack. So these layers are nothing but just like software files written in C code. In protocol, we say stack. So draw this part. One eNode B to other eNode B internal stack. L1, L2 IP, SCTP, X2 AP. Okay.
Yeah, drawn.
So mostly if you are going for a network testing kind of thing, eNode B testing profile, they will ask you sometime draw a stack of eNode B. eNode B is interacting this UE, interacting with this UE, and eNode B is interacting with this MME. eNode B is interacting with other eNode B. With this,
Other node B.
yeah, with these three stacks you
Mm-hmm.
can draw for that question.
Mm-hmm.
So Another thing is MME. Sometimes they will ask, like Cisco or some other companies, if they are working at MME side or HSS side. So they will ask to draw what are the interfaces between MME and HSS. So this is also one of the important questions. You can draw this diagram. So in stack, internal stack between MME and HSS, it uses S6A interface or diameter. So this detail we will discuss. What are these each and every layer? First, to get familiarized with this internal stacks. So, MME is interacting with this HSS via with this L1, L2. L1 will interact with L1, L2 will interact with L2, IP, SCTP to SCTP, diameter to diameter. So these are the layers, internal layers, just nothing but software files written in C code. So each and every layer will be responsible for some function. And you can draw this one, MME to MME stack. Others, these things not needed. These are required in case of core network testing, EPC testing, those things. Okay. So this one, MME to HSS and MME to MME, you can draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, if we know the stack for UV, if we know the UV stack, then we can easily, I think we can easily draw everything.
Not everything, because UE stack is different and
No, no,
MME.
no, not UV stack.
Uh,
For example, if you know UV stack, ENB, ENB stack, MME stack, and HSS stack, then it will be we can draw easily.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
So UE has different layers. MME Node B has two kinds of
uh,
because it is one side it is interacting with UE, other side it is interacting with MME with different stack internal layers. You can see here. So Node B fine. We will discuss about each and every layer. What is physical layer? What is MAC layer? What is RLC, PD, CPR, or CNAS? Those things now. So let me share you what are these layers and why it is what are their responsibilities. So we are seeing here file layer. So file layer means a physical layer. MAC means this is a medium access control. So RLC means radio link control. So no need to write full form. Just listen for now. You will get a detail. So phi means physical layers. Physical layer functionalities are main functionalities are these things. It is responsible for you can write some of the things I will tell you. Those are very important. It is responsible for uh, this coding encoding of transport channels, FEC, forward error correction, coding encoding of the transport channels, hybrid ARQ soft combining, and then next is modulation and demodulation. Don't need to write all the things. Just write coding encoding hybrid ARQ soft combining, and this one rate matching. You can write rate matching, These things, terminologies may be new for you. We will discuss in detail in later classes. So just write one point. This rate matching, modulation and demodulation, frequency and time synchronization, and this one, MIMO, MIMO, RF processing. Coding, encoding, hybrid ARQ soft combining, rate matching, modulation and demodulation, frequency and time synchronization, MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, RF processing. These are the responsibilities of physical layer. There are other things also, but no need to write. If you can able to tell 2 3 points in the interview, that's enough. Okay, so next is MAC layer. So MAC layer is nothing but medium access control. This one. So whether it is a UE side or eNode B side, their roles and responsibilities will be same. So why I'm saying eNode B side or UE side means these layers are both side, right? UE side as well as the eNode B side. UE's physical layer is interacting with eNode B's physical layer. UE's MAC layer is interacting with eNode B's MAC layer. So their roles and responsibilities will be same. There is no difference. So that's why. So you can write MAC layer, medium access control heading. So many responsibilities of this layer is mapping between logical channels and transport channels. So these things you'll not understand now, how what is logical channel, what is transport channel. We have a channel class. I will discuss in detail in that. So write down this important point. It is responsible for mapping between logical channels and transport channel, multiplexing and demultiplexing. No need to write of all these things. Just write multiplexing and demultiplexing. And scheduling. Just write simple one point, scheduling. So whatever the RBs in downlink or uplink will be scheduled by MAC layer only. You will see in detail. So just write a scheduling. First point is mapping. It is responsible for mapping between logical channels and transport channels, multiplexing and demultiplexing, scheduling, error correction through HARC. Error correction through HARC. This point. So, and one more point, this priority handling between logical channels of one UE. I'll mention just till here, priority handling between logical channels. There are different logical channels. How it will prioritize, it will be MAC layer. We will see. So it does the priority handling between logical channels. And one more thing, padding. Fine. So next, written MAC layer responsibilities.
I wrote everything.
What?
Yeah, I wrote.
Okay. So we have seen file layer responsibilities, MAC layer responsibilities. Then comes to RLC layer. So RLC layer, it's a radio link controller. So let's see, radio link control. There is nothing much about RLC layer. So it has a 3 modes actually, AM, UM and TM. So AM means acknowledgement mode, UM means acknowledgement mode, TM means transparent mode. So it works based upon these three modes. So let's write about these things. It is RLC is responsible for, you can write error correction through ARQ, this point. Error correction through ARQ. It is responsible for concatenation, segmentation, and reassembly. So first point, error correction through ARQ. Second point, concatenation. It is responsible for concatenation, segmentation, and reassembly. Third point, duplicate detection. Yeah, these 3 points are enough. Duplicate detection. It has three. One more point you can add. It has three modes: TM mode, AM mode, and UM mode.
Okay, I wrote it.
Written.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that fourth point also written. It has a three modes: AM mode, UM mode, and TM mode. So next is which layer? PDCP, right? So PDCP, it is a packet data convergence protocol. So it is mainly responsible for packet compression. It has a roles for compressing the packet based upon the ROHC, robust header. What we say, where it is, PDCP, packet data convergence protocol. So its main responsibility is header compression and decompression, ROHC, robust header compression we say, ROHC full form. So it's responsible for header compression and decompression. And this point you can write ciphering and deciphering. Second point. First point is header compression and decompression, ROHC only. And second point is ciphering and deciphering. Third point is ciphering and integrity protection. These are the main roles. First is header compression and decompression. Second is ciphering and deciphering. Third is ciphering and integrity protection. Noted?
Yeah, noted.
Okay. So next layer is RRC. This one, radio resource control. So this is we are most familiar drive test engineers, right?
Yeah.
RRC. So RRC is nothing but it's a control stack, control plane stack. So it is responsible for broadcast of messages. All the messages, whatever we see in terms RRC connection request, MIB, SIB1, SIB2, system information block 1, system information block type 2, like that. Those information will be sent through RRC only and NAS messages. So it is, you can see here, write down this point, broadcast of system information relate non-access stratum. It's not a non-access stratum. Broadcast of, you write down this point. It is responsible for broadcast of system information related to access stratum. And next point is establishment, maintenance, and release of RRC connection between UE and EUTRON. First is broadcast of system information related to access stratum AS, and establishment, maintenance, and release of RRC connection between UE and EUTRON. Third is security functions, RRC security we say. So security is responsible for security functionality, including key management. There are different keys RRC related security. Your data will be encrypted during uplink or downlink, or during voice call, VoLTE call, those things. So it will be taken care by RRC security. So it is responsible for mobility functions. And you can write this point: mobility functions, UE measurement, reporting, and control of reporting. What are the measurements report will be sent by UE? It will be sent through RRC only. So whenever you go good RSRP to poor RSRP region, one cell to other cell, the RSRP will degrade, right? Where it will go poor RSRP, and then the measurement report UE will report measurement report to eNode B. So those will be reported using RRC layer. So that's what UE measurement reporting and control of the reporting. So and the response will be given through RRC layer from eNode B. RRC connection reconfiguration, those things. So that's enough. This point, this and mobility function, UE measurement report. 4 point is enough. It is responsible for broadcast of system information related to access stratum, establishment, maintenance of RRC connection, release of RRC connection, security functions, and mobility functions. QoS, this one, UE measurement reporting and control function. That's fine. So next comes NAS layer, non-access stratum. So RRC comes into access stratum. We have two parts: access stratum and non-access stratum. So whatever you see here, you are seeing 5 MAC, RLC, PDCP, RRC till RRC here. So these are access stratum we say in LTE.
Okay.
5 MAC, RLC, PDCP, RRC till RRC we say access stratum, and this is a NAS layer, non-access stratum, which is responsible for interacting with MME directly without using this eNode B. So direct messages from UE will go to MME using NAS layer. So that's why we can say non-access stratum. So non-access stratum responsibilities. Here you can write NAS. Make a heading NAS. So EPS bearer management. It is responsible for EPS bearer management, NAS authentication, ECM ideal mobility handling. So ECM ideal, what is ECM ideal? ECM connected, RRC ideal, RRC connected. We will see in detail. So just right here, it is responsible for EPS bearer management, authentication, ECM ideal mobility handling, paging orientation in ECM ideal, paging origination. Yeah, that's it. Security control also. NAS security is there. There are two types of securities: access security and NAS security. So NAS security is done by NAS layer. So all these points are important regarding NAS layer. Fine. So that's
Yeah,
it for
okay.
today. We will discuss about other layers in tomorrow's class. What are the other layers? We have completed UE side, all these layers.
Okay.
Just their roles and responsibilities. What are the messages they are sending or receiving in detail, we will see in later classes. But just till now, we have seen their roles and responsibilities only. here, UV side,
Okay.
and E node B side we will discuss tomorrow. This UV
And for here, we discuss something about the some terminologies. This we will discuss later, or I
which
need
term,
to search from the
which term?
like. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, mapping, logical mapping, these things.
logical mapping.
Multiplexing, demultiplexing, more things regarding Mac, regarding REC, regarding RRC.
Yeah,
We did some terminologies.
this is just a beginning. You will get new
Uh-huh.
terminologies every day. We will
Okay, okay.
understand in detail while we proceed. Each and
Okay, okay.
everything will come because this is
Uh-huh.
beginning. Each and every layer we will discuss in detail in later classes. This is just,
Okay, okay, okay.
no need to search
So
anything.
just now, just we just get the introduction about the layers,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
After that, we will just learn one by one, like about Phi, about Mac, about RLC, everything.
yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
Hmm. So
Okay,
fine.
then I will go through these things. Then we will get some idea when we are going detailed.
Yes, yes. No need to
Okay,
worry
okay.
about new terminologies.
Okay, okay.
We'll get used to it. So this is what control plane stack we are discussing. Tomorrow also we will complete control plane stack between eNode B and MME.
Okay, okay.
eNode B to MME, eNode B to eNode B. So after that we will go to user plane stack next
Okay.
three classes. So then we will complete theory part. So then actual work will start. Our practical, what are the messages, call flows, those things. So I'm going step by step. Fine.
Okay, okay.
Mm,
Okay, okay, okay.
okay. We'll see you if you
Okay.
don't have any questions. Tomorrow,
Yeah, that's good. Tomorrow I will go through all those things from architecture to this list.
yes.
Maybe tomorrow I will get some more questions and then I will ask you inshallah.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Okay, man. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Jazakallah.